Hey everybody, Vaping Gal Philly here, and I have a comparison review for you today of the Kanger AeroTank with airflow control versus the Aspire Nautilus with airflow control. I have both of my devices. I'm using the same type, set up at 7 watts. I have the MVP Shine and the MVP 2, and on the Kanger AeroTank, I have a 2 ohm coil, and I am using a 50-50 blend of juice called Yellow Snow from Vaper Jedi. And in the Aspire Nautilus, I have Vaporcraft's Privatus line Miraculum in here, which is also a 50-50, and I have a 1.8 ohm coil. I know that is going to make a little bit of difference, but it shouldn't make so much difference between the Kanger tank and 0.2 ohms is not that much different. So we will see. I have both of these wide open. I do prefer an area draw, so I'm going to do the comparison with them wide open, and then I'll do a comparison with both of them on the lowest setting for the airflow. So I'm going to start with the Kanger AeroTank. Pretty good, pretty good. And now for the Aspire Nautilus. I have to say on the wide open, I would have to give it to the Aspire Nautilus. It is an area draw. You get more vapor at one time. And it just, to me, it vapes better. Let's see. It looks like... Okay, so now I have it on the smallest setting. You can barely see a hole in there. Still good vapor production, but it is such a tight draw. It's almost like vaping on a disposable e-cigarette at this point. It is definitely more of a mouth to lung draw on it rather than having it wide open where you could do direct lung hit with it. Now let's check the Kanger AeroTank. I'm putting it all the way up. And here we go. It's definitely a tighter draw. I almost feel like I'm sucking milkshake through a straw. Wow, that is really, really tight. I am not one to like a tight draw on a tank. I don't think that vaping should have to be that much of an effort. So I am going to open that back up because that is just way too much. Let's try it in the middle of the road. Okay, so I have it set in the middle. You can see there's a little bit of a gap from the top and the bottom. Much better. Much easier of a draw. The closer you go down to the bottom of the cap, the more airflow you're going to get. Now let's see what we do if we put it on. Okay, I'm going to do it on the second from the smallest hole on here. And let's see. a lot better on the airflow. If you do the third biggest, it is a little bit, I don't know how well you guys are seeing that, but definitely a lot better. I do prefer it wide open on the Nautilus, though. I do think you get more airflow control out of the Nautilus. And it seems to me you have 3 different modes on the Kanger AeroTank versus 4 modes on the Aspire Nautilus. To me, I have to say, I'm going to give it to the Nautilus. You get a 5 mil tank, you get 4 different airflow settings, and I just seem to like it better. I haven't compared as far as how long the coils last between the two. I may do an update video on that later to let you know how the coils have turned out. I'm not saying that the AeroTank is a bad option. It is not. It is not bad at all. I'm just saying that between the two, this has been dubbed, the AeroTank has been dubbed the Nautilus Killer. And I hate to say this, but I disagree. I think that the Aspire Nautilus has a lot more bang for your buck. You can start out on a lower airflow control on it if you like a tighter draw. And as you move along in your vaping experience, you may decide that you like more airflow, and it gives you more options since you do have 4 different air hole sizes to control your airflow with versus a dial that does like 3. Really. But I mean, they're both great. I have enjoyed Kanger Tech products for a long time, as well as the Aspire. And I'm not saying that they're both not good tanks, because they're both great tanks. But if you're comparing the two side by side with the same watts, same viscosity of juice, I would have to give it up to the Aspire Nautilus. It just has an airier draw, and you get more vapor production from it when it is wide open compared to the AeroTank. So that is my review. It is solely my opinion. Your mileage may vary. You may like Kanger better than Aspire. I would definitely recommend having both in your repertoire of vaping tanks because they're both great tanks. I would say, you know, that the Aspire, it does give good vapor. Not saying it doesn't. It comes with a wide bore drip tip or wider bore drip tip than some of the other Pro Tank options have been before. And it does have a removable drip tip as well, so if you do not like the drip tip that is on here, you can put your own in, as well as the Aspire Nautilus does. I don't even know what happened to my drip tip for my Nautilus, so I'm using one of my favorite drip tips on here. But side by side, they're both a good value. I'm not sure the cost difference. I do believe the Nautilus is a little bit more for it, but I think it's worth it, in my opinion. And like I said, you know, to me, I would have to say the Aspire wins this round, guys. But I definitely will be keeping the Kanger AeroTank around and using it as well. So I can't say too much bad about it. It's not as airy. That's pretty much it. And I just totally